endlessly searching for an original sin.
Hi everyone and welcome back to Hakuoki. Wind. I will never be able to say this right, I'm sorry. I felt like I had to say something, so I spoke up. I don't usually see Hei all alone like that. Most of the time he's with Naga and Harada.
それはきっと君のことが気になったからでしょうね。
Really? What? But he just turned and walked away. Worries about me? Had he been worried I might do something? Was he just keeping an eye on me? Senan's suggestion implied there was more than he was letting on, but couldn't quite place it. After all, he was surprised to find me outside my room, so he wasn't there to supervise me. Maybe he came to see how I was doing? Later that night, warm under my covers, my mind fluttered busily, preventing me from resting. Hei was later sentenced to house arrest. I was also informed that his food portions were to be decreased, so he wasn't present at dinner. He must be getting really hungry. The more I thought about Hei, though, the more worried I became. What was it he said?
いや、三男さんがいてくれりゃ平気か。お前も頑張れよ。
As I played the words back in my head, I grew more and more convinced that he had been worried about me and came to check up on me. I was essentially confined to my room, and I could only speak to certain people. Was he so worried that he was willing to keep me company when all the others were out? All right, that's it. I've made up my mind. I rolled over, stood up, and grabbed my jacket. I tiptoed down the hallway until I reached the room where Hei was being kept. After checking for any nearby patrols, I whispered as loud as I dared. Hei?
この声。
Yes, I needed to tell you something. Is that okay?
いいかなってお前、いいわけないだろ。勝手に部屋を抜け出して謹慎中の大使を訪ねるなんて誰かに見つかったら。
Hold on. Go away. Ah, I hear footsteps.
おい、さっさと中入れ。
Before I could even react, his door flew open and an arm shot out to pull me inside. I was still trying to figure out what was going on when he threw a blanket over me. What?
いいからそれかぶってじっと隠れてろ。
I wasn't sure if he could see it, but I nodded. We waited in breathless silence for the footsteps to move past before I finally poked my head out. Hei frowned over my head, watching silently.
何してんのさお前。土方さんとかに見つかったらどうする気だったんだよ。俺に用なら伝言を頼むとか、謹慎が解けるまで待つとか、いろいろ方法があるだろう。
Sorry, but this couldn't wait. I can deal with the consequences, though. Wrong one. I was worried. Wrong one. I was worried about you, Hei.
俺のことが。
You came to visit me this afternoon because you were worried about me, right? Well, I'm just doing the same thing. I was just worried you might be sad or something, or maybe hungry.
あのな、謹慎って言うなら、お前だって同じようなもんだし。
Well, I guess you have a point.
よく考えなくてもそうだろう。たくそんな状況なのに人の心配するって呆れたっつうかお人よしっつうか。
I'm sorry. I didn't have a response, so we sat in silence. Oh, I think I did good.
その気持ちは嬉しいけどな。
He smiled.
で、さっき今じゃないとダメだよって言ってたけど、何の用事で俺のところまで来たんだよ。
Oh, right. Good, it didn't get squished. I opened the wrapping to show him what I brought, and Hayes' eyes lit up.
握り飯？
Yes, well, they're leftovers from dinner.
これのためにわざわざ危ない橋渡ってここまで来たのか？
Yes. Well, yeah. I thought you might be hungry. For several long moments, he just stared at it. Was he really so perplexed?
お前がせっかく俺のために作ってくれたものなんだよな。食べないでお前を追い返してもここに来た事実が消えるわけじゃねえし。それに。
His face broke into a wide smile.
何よりすげえ腹減ったし。
Oh, he's happy again. As he spoke, he reached out, plucked the rice ball from my hand, and bit off a piece. Aww.
うわ、うまっ！すっげえうまい！これ何入ってんだよ！
He displayed a great talent for taking large bites while still speaking full sentences. Is it really that good? I mean, it's just salt and pickled plums.
そっか？でもこんなうまい握り飯今まで食ったことないかも。
Really? Well, I'm glad you like it. He ate ravenously as if he'd never eaten a meal in his entire life. He couldn't contain himself. I had a feeling it had less to do with my cooking skill and more attributed to him being starved, but I still felt guilty for not putting in more effort. In no time at all, he had finished it off and was licking the stray grains of rice from his fingers. He thanked me for the food, then made me promise never to do it again before I left his room. His fire-eyed expression from when I'd given him the rice ball made me giggle as I walked to my room. Uh-oh. Huh? I froze. The voice came from around the corner out of sight.
おいお前、そんなところで何してやがる？
Hiji.
質問に答えろ。ここ。
His eyes pressed against me like a pair of icy rods. I swallowed and hid the rice ball wrapper behind me. What could I say? Anything I said could possibly implicate Hay. Unfortunately, it seemed like Hiji already knew whose room I visited.
大使だったら切腹もんだ。
His vengeful scowl appealed like a demon in the darkness.
さっさと寝ろ。二度と余計なことするんじゃねえぞ。
Of course. I'm sorry. I ran from my room as fast as I could. My heart pounded as I clambered back into bed. That was a close one. He let me go this time, but I saw in his eyes that I'd been in serious trouble if he caught me again. I crawled deeper under the covers and desperately tried to think of something else. I couldn't deny that I crossed the line. But even after that terrifying encounter with Hiji, I didn't regret it. I hadn't been able to do much, but it seemed to have really cheered him up. It was the first glimmer of hope refracting onto me since coming to the Shinsengumi compound. We did good. June 1864. The fourth year of the Bankyo era became the Ganji Genon, and the summer sweetly blossomed. Spring shed its blooming skin, giving birth to the lush green trees, facing the wide open sky. During one of those beautiful summer days, I finished cleaning after everyone ate breakfast, and Saito brought me to the hall to Hiji.
副長、斉藤です。雪村を連れて参りました。
入る。
Saito responded by quietly opening the sliding doors, gesturing me to enter the room. Upon entering, I saw Hiji, but also Okita, Naga, Harata, and Hei in the hall. It appeared that only the captains who were aware of my situation were present.
随分と長く待たせたな。お前を外に出してやる時が来た。
Really? I could barely contain my excitement in my voice as soon as the words came out of my mouth. So, it is true, there was a man in Fushimi that matched my father's profile? Fushimi, castle town in the southern part of Kyoto.
真偽は定かじゃねえが、本人かどうかは娘のお前に確かめてもらうのが一番だと思ってな。
I nodded in response. For now, any information pertaining to my father was appreciated, so I was thankful. So, where is this man who supposedly looks like my father?
伏見にある寺田屋って宿だ。これから斎藤に確かめに行ってもらう。
Terada Inn, an inn located in Fushimi. It is often frequented by warriors of the Setsuma and Tosa domains. Saito is assigned. I wasn't sure if that meant I was to accompany Saito, or if I would have to wait longer for him. Then Harada chimed in.
だが、行動さんがまだそこに留まってるとは限らねえだろう。
ああ、伏見にいたってことは、今日の街中をうろついてる可能性もある。
その通りだ。だから原田と新八、それから平助の巡察にこいつを同行させて行動さんを探してもらってもいい。
俺たち全員で？いつもは手分けして順番に見回りしてるのに。
Hiji didn't bother entertaining a response, instead looking towards me. He was suggesting there were the men who were responsible for dealing with me should I attempt to flee. Hei must have sensed this as well, so he made no attempt to push the issue any further.
言いたいことは分かりましたけど、この子のおもりを僕たちに任せっぱなしってのは気に入らないな。今日は確か土方さんも外出する予定が入ってましたよね。今後のためにも可愛い小姓を同行させていろいろ勉強させたらどうですか？
何を言ってやがる。こいつが俺の小姓っつうのはお前が勝手に言ってただけだろうが。
でも他の大使たちは完全にそう信じ込んでるみたいですよ。嘘から出た誠なんて言葉もありますし、相応の仕事をさせた方がいいんじゃないですか。
As Okita and Hiji bickered to one another, the mood of the room was locked in their tense words until Harada whispered to me.
ま、今の今日は物騒だし、無理に出かける必要はねえと思うぜ。俺たちも一応、行動さんの顔はわかるんだしな。
I could look for my father in Fushimi or join the patrol rounds assuming he's moved places, or stay here to keep safe from the outside, or accompany Hiji as his page. What should I do? Where is the button for saving? Okay. Stay around headquarters, join their rounds, go to Fushimi. I'll go to Fushimi. My father might be at Fushimi. I want to find out. Even if he had already left Fushimi, there was a chance I could find a lead to his next location. I had already made up my mind. I will go to Terada Inn. Saito, would you mind if I come along with you?
わかった。
Thank you. Wow, I couldn't believe I might see father. My heart pounded heavily in my chest, and I did my best to keep my composure and bow. Oh, and I want a bow too. The air was slightly humid, a thin dampness permeating despite no signs of rain.
あんたにとっては久方ぶりの外出だな。体調の方はどうだ？
It was an even longer while since I've worn straw sandals, so blisters formed around my strap. I'm fine. I was eager to see if my father was nearby, so I ignored any minor distractions or obstacles.
そうか。
It seemed Saito could read through my words, and he pretended to ignore my discomfort. We were heading to Fushimi, which is south of Kyoto. Hiji mentioned my father was staying at the Terada Inn, but how do we even know if it's legit?
観察型からもたらされた情報だ。その宿に剃髪の乱暴医が逗留しているらしいとな。
A bald doctor. I grew restless with anticipation from Saito's words. My heart couldn't contain itself. So, this person could really be my father? How many bald men practice in his field of
先を
study?
急ぐぞ。疲れが出てきたら言え。
Okay. I had to make sure Saito doesn't see me as a burden, so I tucked my strap and hurried with him. Shortly after we reached the Terada Inn, located in Fushimi. Is my father really here? The inn itself looked well kept from the outside, and Fushimi stirred in the background. I clenched my throat nervously as I approached the door, but I waited for Saito to instruct me.
向かいに茶店があるな。入ることとしよう。
Wait, we're going through the tea shop? Why didn't he go in immediately to snoop around? I had so many questions, both for him and father. However, Saito seemed very calculated, scanning the area since we arrived, so it felt best to trust in his judgment. We entered the tea shop around the other side, and Saito began scoping the Terada Inn, and snooping, as usual. Saito led me to a seat near the shop's balcony, and he whispered discreetly into my ear.
寺田屋はもともと薩摩藩御用達の宿と言われていてな。そのためか、西国の浪士が立ち寄ることが多いと言われているのだ。
From the west? Before I knew it, the Shushu domain was connected to Imperial Ronin from the west as well. Choshu domain, a domain governed by Takachika Mori, an opposition daimyo. Most members of this domain were nationalist imperialists during the early part of the Bakamatsu period. What does that mean for my father to be here?
わからん。単なる偶然か、あるいは。
Oh no, surely it's a coincidence. Saito looked at me but didn't respond. The possibility that of my father conducting business in Fushimi now pointed to an implicit relationship between him and the imperialists. Well, a doctor's a doctor, but that couldn't be the case. My father explicitly told me he was visiting Kyoto under direct orders from the shogunate. I can read. Surely there was a reason for the confusion. But what kind of reason could he have being here?
とはいえ会津藩お預かりという我々の立場を考えると、不用意に寺田屋に立ち入るわけにもいかぬ。故にあんたにはここで宿に出入りする客の様子を確かめてもらおうと思うのだが、構わぬか。
Huh? You want me to watch the inn? Saito wasn't my babysitter, but I'd appreciated some backup if something went wrong. Does Saito trust me enough for him to take his eyes off of me? I didn't want to mess things up. Saito, ever the keen eye, spoke to comfort me.
俺は尊攘派の浪士に顔を覚えられているかもしれん。ここで張り込みをするのは差し障りがあろう。 案ずるな。俺も近くで情報集めを行うつもりだ。何かあればすぐに駆けつける。
Alright. But I'm holding you to that.
それでは頼んだぞ。
Saito stood quickly and disappeared into the crowd, leaving me in my seat at the tea shop. I had to play the part, so I gathered my bearings in my new surroundings and I approached a customer visiting the shop for questions. For a second, I had to remember I was there on a mission, but it felt like I was a spy in a play. I gathered some intel from customers confirming sightings of a bald doctor of Western medicines who frequented the Tarada Inn until a few days ago. Unfortunately, the leads ran dry for anything during the past 2 or 3 days. Looks like we may have just missed him. I braced myself for the possibility that the lead was false, but even still, it was discouraging to come up with nothing. This was no time to be upset, though. Maybe he would return to the inn after finishing whatever business it was that took him away. Longing for a loved one to return is like waiting for a wound to heal, where the memory of the time before the pain seeps into every moment after. With the approval of the tea shop's owner, I watched the happenings of the Tarada's Inn from the shop's balcony. Just then, a mysterious visitor approached me.
人間違うだが、誰かと待ち合わせか?
Huh? He caught me off guard. Had he been watching me? I turned around, nearly clutching my kodachi. Oh, hello there. He took a seat near me, staring at my hand as if to assure me from harm. Who was this man? He didn't look like anyone I'd ever seen before.
どうした?ぼーっとして。待ってるんじゃなきゃ、誰か探してるのか?
Oh no. I shook my head, unsure if he could be trusted. You see, well, I'm looking for my father.
おう?親父さんを。って、何か訳ありみたいだな。話してみろよ。もしかしたら力になれるかもしれないぜ。
This girl is very smart. I'm not sure. I contemplated whether or not this man would have known my father, or even the possibility that telling this man anything would jeopardize me. However, any information he could have may help. My father visited Kyoto on a business trip, but he suddenly ceased communication with me. Rumors surfaced that someone with his likeness came to this inn. I had to see for myself.
あんた、東国の生まれだろ?
Yes, I came from Edo.
そいつは大変だな。こっちの土地勘もないだろうし。よし、わかった。
Huh? Well, How should I respond? He could be useful. Okay, why not? Are you sure? I'd appreciate any help.
困った時はお互い様ってな。迷惑だって言われりゃどうしようもないが。
It wouldn't trouble me at all. It would be great for you to help me. Thank you so much.
俺は斉谷梅太郎って言うんだ。斉谷さんでも梅さんでも好きなように呼んでくれ。
Umetaro Saitani, a person who encounters the protagonist at the Tarada Inn while she searches for her father. That was so helpful. Okay, nice to meet you, Satani. My name is Yukimara. It's very nice to meet you.
雪村ちゃんな。名は体を表すなんて言うが、そのまんまだな。
You think my name matches my figure?
で、下の名前はきっとあんたによく似合う可愛い名前なんだろうが。
Well, cute is kind of a stretch. If I had told him my name was Anon, he might suspect me to be a woman.
まあいいか。女っていうのはいくつも秘密があるっていうしな。
Man, we are really bad at hiding that we're female. After he said those words, I gasped and covered my mouth with my hands. Wait a minute. Satani, I'm not a woman.
いや、どこをどう見ても女だろ。それとも俺をバカにしてるのか？
Do not anger the man who might have a sword. I would never take you for a fool.
ま、こんな可愛い娘がうろうろしてたら、周りの男が放っておかないだろうし、男の格好してるのは正解だと思うぜ。
Thanks? The nonchalantness of his response made me particularly faint from relief.
で、あんたの下の名前は何と言うんだ？
Considering he'd already figured out I'm a woman, I saw no harm in being honest with him about my name. My name's Anon Yukamaru.
なるほど。思った通り、あんたにぴったりの可愛い名前だな。
Son, if you think Anon is a cute name, we have some issues. You think so?
で、あんたはどういう男が好みなんだ？男と出かけるんならどういう場所がいい？
Satini? We're not talking about me right now. I thought you were going to help me look for my father.
そういや、そうだったな。すっかり忘れてたぜ。
Stop being so thirsty. Satini's talents appeared to be in engaging, seemingly endless conversations. Since he was first person outside of the Shinsengumi with whom I've spoken, I completely lost track of time. Luckily, Saito appeared to rescue me.
雪村、待たせてすまなかったな。今戻った。
Oh, hi, Saito.
なんだ、お仲間が帰ってきちまったのか。そんじゃ、これ以上の手助けは無用かな。
Sartini stood up from his seat slowly, appearing dejected as if I'd broken his heart.
それじゃあな。縁があればまた会おうぜ。
Oh, maybe. Before I could tell him goodbye, Satini had wandered off. Saito focused on him, making sure he was out of earshot, and muttered quietly into my ear.
今の男は
He snuck up behind me earlier. Supposedly his name is Satini. How did it go, Saito? Were you able to find anything useful about my father?
それについては帰る道すがら話すが、期待はせぬ方がいいとだけ言っておこう。
Oh. I felt my stomach drop from his words, and I assumed it meant the leads were false. I clenched my fists tightly, fighting back angry tears. I couldn't let Saito see my disappointment.
待っていてくれ。今あんたの分の感情を済ませてくる。
Okay. Saito and I headed back to the base, and I noticed fireflies grouping in circles as he updated me. The bald doctor staying in the Terada Inn was in fact someone different than my father, who just happened to match his description.
すまぬな。わざわざあんたに伏見まで同行してもらったという。
Oh no, please, don't worry. Even though we learned nothing about my father, I was able to get some fresh air. That's nice. Still, I couldn't shake the worry for my father. Saito looked at me reassuringly, and his face lit brightly as he remembered something.
そういえば、先ほどあんたと話していた男のことだが。
Oh, you mean Saitini?
妙な男だったな。一見人好きするように見えたが、立ち居振る舞いには隙が全くなかった。
Huh, I guess I didn't notice. To me, Saitini didn't seem guarded at all, judging by how open he was with stories. Was something troubling you about him, Saito? He nodded in response, looking away from my face.
剣の心得がある者は目を見ればわかる。おそらく脱藩浪人の類だろう。この辺りで寝泊まりしているとすれば、薩摩や西国にゆかりがあるものかもしれん。
A Ronin? He seemed too jovial to be a lordless samurai, especially ones causing trouble in Kyoto. From what it seemed like in our conversation, he was the furthest thing from a warrior.
気を許さぬ方がいいだろうな。昨今の今日の治安を考えると、用心に用心を重ねておくに越したことはあるまい。
Understood. I wondered who this Saitini man really was. My first adventure into Fushimi taught me many things, and I could only wait for what came next. And it looks like we begin chapter 2. But we'll have to do chapter 2 next time, everybody. Thank you all very much for joining me. I'm sorry this one wasn't live, but we've been having a few problems with this game. So if you guys like my videos, please check out my other series and check out my second channel, Sinfully Pure, where the Eldritch Abomination likes to hang out. And check me out on Twitch under Sinfully Pure, where I stream every Thursday, and the Eldritch Abomination has other days. But thank you guys. Also, we have a lovely shop where our comic is back for sale. You can pick it up directly there and get a wonderful digital version, and eventually we'll have physicals. Thank you guys for joining me. Please check out everything in the description, including our OnlyFans and all that stuff. Hit the membership button if you're on YouTube. If you're on anywhere else, we're on Patreon, OnlyFans, and Subscribestar. Bye, guys. Love you all.